Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I don't expect much on my birthday. Never have. I've never been the guy who throws parties for himself or expects a parade. Honestly, all I ever really want is some peace, some food, and, back then, a quiet evening with my wife. Maybe a movie, maybe a little wine. Something simple. But this birthday felt different. The whole week had been stressful at work, 12-hour days, back-to-back meetings, and a ridiculous client pitch that blew up in my face. Still, I kept thinking, just make it to Friday. You've got the weekend. You've got her. That used to be enough. That belief, no matter how chaotic life got, home would be safe. That illusion ended around 6:12 p.m. I was supposed to be home at 7, but I got out of the office early. A small birthday gift from the universe, I figured. I even stopped at a little bakery downtown and picked up a lemon tart. Her favorite, not mine. It felt good to surprise her for once. Lately, she had been off. Not cold exactly. Not hostile. Just somewhere else, like her mind was always 2 steps ahead, and I wasn't invited along for the walk. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw her car already there. Lights on. Curtains half drawn. I smiled to myself and tightened the grip on the box in my hands. For a second, I thought about walking in and catching her lighting candles or arranging flowers or something dumbly romantic like that. Instead, I got silence. Not the cozy kind. The empty kind. I set my keys down quietly on the entry table and padded across the hardwood toward the kitchen. I didn't hear music. I didn't smell dinner. Just the faint hum of the refrigerator and the quiet little voice in my head whispering something was off. And then I turned the corner. There she was, back to me, pressed against the counter. And pressed against her was a man I recognized instantly. Michael, her boss. His hand was around her waist. Her arms wrapped around his neck. Their lips locked, slow, deliberate, like this wasn't the first time. Like they had done this before. A lot. The box slid from my hand and hit the tile with a soft thud. She jolted first, ripped herself away like the granite countertop had burned her. He turned a half-second later, eyes wide. Mouth still slightly parted like he hadn't quite processed what just happened. I didn't say a word. Neither did she. I stared at them. At him. Tall. Smug. The kind of guy who shakes your hand and then wipes his on his pants when you're not looking. Wait. Hold on. He raised both hands, palms out. It was just a kiss. Just a kiss. That's what he said. Like he hadn't just blown a hole through 10 years of marriage. Like I had walked in on a handshake that went a little too long, or a shoulder rub that slipped into something more. I blinked. My heart wasn't racing. My hands weren't shaking. I felt nothing. Just the sound of my own breathing in that room, and the echo of those 3 stupid words. Just a kiss. I looked at her. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Eyes glassy. She tried to say my name, I think. But it stuck in her throat. And in that moment, something in me shifted. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Precision. I turned. Walked out of the kitchen. Left the tart, bleeding lemon curd across the floor. Because it wasn't just a kiss. It was the beginning of something far more dangerous. And I was going to make sure they both remembered it. I didn't go far that night. Just sat in the car, engine off, windows rolled up. I couldn't bring myself to drive. Couldn't even bring myself to start the damn thing. I just sat there, breathing in the recycled air, staring at my own reflection in the dark windshield. That look on her face. The way she didn't say my name. The way he said, just a kiss. Like I was supposed to nod and walk out with a handshake. Maybe thank him for taking the pressure off me. I don't remember how long I stayed there. An hour, maybe more. Long enough for the house lights to go off. Long enough for my phone to buzz with her name twice. And for me to let it ring both times. When I finally drove off, I didn't go to a hotel. I went to my brother Eric's. He opened the door in sweats, barefoot, with that confused look you get when someone shows up unannounced and too calm. I hadn't even said anything yet, and he already knew something was off. I think he expected me to say someone had died. I just said, "Can I crash here tonight?" He nodded. No questions. He's good like that. Waits for the words to come when you're ready, not when he wants them. It wasn't until the next morning that I told him what I saw. I didn't go into every detail. Just said I came home early and found Jenna in the kitchen with Michael, her boss, kissing. Eric's jaw clenched. Not dramatic, but just enough that I saw it. He didn't ask if I was sure. Didn't give me that maybe it meant nothing speech. He just nodded, slow. She said anything since? He asked. I shook my head. Couple calls. No voicemails. Nothing since. He was quiet for a while, then leaned back on the couch. You know she never liked me much. That made me snort. Because you asked her what she was hiding the first time you met her. Yeah, he said. She smiled like she didn't hear me. That memory landed harder than I thought it would. I started going through the last 6 months in my head. All the odd little moments I had filed under stress, work, bad timing, the late-night meetings, the sudden need to start early morning yoga, the upgraded wardrobe that had nothing to do with our tight budget, even the way she touched her phone differently, less like a tool, more like a secret. One night came back to me in full color, 3 weeks before my birthday. She had come home late, smelling like peppercorn steak and red wine. I asked if she went out with coworkers. She said no, just grabbed takeout and ate at her desk. I didn't question it. But now I remembered the faint lip gloss smudge on her wrist. The same shade she never wore around me. You want to believe it's stress. You want to believe you've been tired. That you forgot how to connect. Because the alternative is that the person you chose to build a life with had been lying right to your face, and you thanked her for dinner afterward. I opened my laptop and checked our shared calendar. She'd deleted her yoga sessions. All of them. Like they never existed. I opened our cell phone bill. One number appeared almost every day for the past month. Often after midnight. Area code matched Michael's office. I didn't know how far it had gone. But I knew this much. This wasn't just a kiss. And if she thought she could control the story, manage the fallout with soft lies and half-truths, she'd forgotten who she married. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. But I was going to know the whole truth. And she was going to feel it. The funny thing is, once you stop reacting, people assume they've won. They think silence means surrender, that you've given up. But sometimes silence is a loaded chamber. The morning after I dug through the call logs, I didn't go into work. I told my office I needed a personal day, which was true. What I didn't say was that I was about to spend that day doing what Jenna clearly never thought I was capable of, paying attention. I didn't go home. I didn't call her. Instead, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in over a year, Ryan Whitlock. Guy owed me a favor. A big one. We used to do freelance security work together, installing surveillance systems, mostly for tech firms who wanted to catch internal leaks. We lost touch after he got married and moved upstate. But when I told him I needed his help for a discreet domestic matter, he didn't hesitate. I met him that afternoon in the parking lot of a strip mall 30 miles outside the city. Neutral territory. He handed me a small audio recorder, no bigger than a flash drive, and a second device that looked like a standard USB charger. This one records audio, he said, pointing to the drive. This one connects to her phone via Wi-Fi if she's dumb enough to leave Bluetooth on. She is, I said. He raised an eyebrow. You sure you want this, man? You might hear something you can't unhear. I didn't blink. That ship sailed the second I saw her lips on his. That night, I waited until I knew she was out, probably at the gym or wherever she pretended to be. I slipped in, grabbed a few clothes, and plugged the charger into the living room outlet behind the couch. Left the audio recorder under the passenger seat in her car. I didn't linger. Didn't go into our bedroom. Didn't look at the wedding photo still hanging crooked in the hallway. I got out before the smell of the place could claw its way back into my chest. Then I waited. By Wednesday, the charger had done its job. Pulled a partial text thread from her messaging app. Michael, Friday night still on? Jenna, definitely. He's clueless. I'll say it's work again. Michael, he really buys that? Jenna, he wants to. That's how guys like him are. They want to believe we're good. That was the moment I stopped feeling angry and started feeling clear. Friday was my answer, and I wasn't going to waste it on another confrontation behind closed doors. I needed them seen. I needed them known. And lucky for me, Michael had invited us both to a corporate dinner that same Friday evening. Some kind of thank you event for clients and internal team leaders. The type of affair where the wine flows, the speeches drag, and the surface smiles hide every real emotion. I RSVP'd yes. I even texted Jenna, looking forward to Friday. I've been thinking about us a lot. She replied instantly, me too. Maybe we can fix this. Fix this. She still thought I'd been pacing around like a wounded puppy. That I hadn't already seen the flight confirmation in her email inbox. The one to Monterey booked for 2 under her personal address. She was planning a weekend with him. And still coming to dinner with me. That's the part that stuck in my throat. Not the cheating. Not the lying. The arrogance. The belief that I was too stupid, too fragile, too devoted to ever see it. But I had seen it. And I was about to make sure everyone else saw it too. The banquet hall was nestled inside one of those downtown high-rises with chrome accents and valet parking. The kind of place designed to impress people who mistake mood lighting for class. I arrived 20 minutes early, wearing the only real suit I owned. Black. Fitted. The one I wore to my father's funeral and, now, apparently to my marriages. I brought nothing with me but my phone and a small wireless remote in my jacket pocket. Jenna arrived exactly on time. Hair curled. Red lips. That black dress I bought her 3 years ago for our anniversary, the one she said made her feel dangerous. She smiled when she saw me. That small, tentative smile women give when they're testing the waters. Measuring your temperature. I smiled back. Not because I felt warm, but because a storm always starts with calm. Thanks for coming, she said, looping her arm through mine like it still belonged there. Wouldn't miss it, I said. Big night. We walked in like everything was fine. I made small talk with Michael when he appeared, handshake, nod, fake laugh at some empty compliment. I could practically taste the self-satisfaction dripping off him. He wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. He was bold, confident. He had already taken what he wanted, and now he got to watch me play the fool in a suit. That was the last smile I gave him. We moved through the evening like mannequins, posing, mingling, sipping wine. Michael gave a short speech, talked about progress, growth, leadership. The usual corporate confetti. I waited until he raised his glass in a mock toast to transparency and integrity. That was my cue. I stepped up beside him as the crowd began to lower their glasses, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. He turned, confused, already a little drunk. Mind if I say a few words? I asked, projecting my voice just enough. He looked toward Jenna, who stiffened slightly but nodded. I'll be quick, I said. It's my birthday, after all. And I've had a revelation. Laughter scattered. Nervous. Polite. I reached into my jacket and clicked the remote. The projector behind us flickered. Then, audio. Grainy. Clear enough to cut. Michael's voice. You think he suspects anything? Jenna's voice. He doesn't want to. That's how guys like him are. They'd rather stay blind. Gasps around the room. A couple forks dropped. Michael stepped toward me, hand out. But I raised mine. More audio. Michael. He's pathetic. I bet he still thinks you're just working late. Jenna. He still leaves the porch light on for me. Like a puppy. The room turned arctic. Jenna's smile was gone. Her face drained of color. She didn't say a word. Just looked at me, pleading with her eyes, but not her mouth. The mouth that lied. That kissed. That mocked. I won't waste your evening, I said to the room. Just thought it was time everyone here knew what kind of men and women make up this leadership team. Michael stepped forward again, but someone else grabbed his arm. Eric. My brother. I hadn't seen him walk in. He wasn't supposed to be there. Don't, Eric said coldly to Michael. You've done enough. That should have been the end of it. But Jenna turned. Finally spoke. You don't understand, she hissed. You don't know what I've dealt with. I tilted my head. No? Then maybe you should say a few words. She shook her head. You think you're better than me? You think you're some kind of victim? You haven't touched me in months. You stopped trying a long time ago. What did you think would happen? I felt the eyes shift back to me. And I was ready. Funny, I said. Because I found the emails. The ones you sent to him 6 months ago. Before anything ever changed between us. Before the late nights. Before the distance. You didn't cheat because I stopped trying. I leaned in slightly. My voice dropped just enough to sting. You cheated because you never thought I'd stop forgiving you. Then, just as I turned to walk out, Eric grabbed my arm. There's one more thing, he said. I blinked. What? He looked down. Then back at me. I didn't just come to watch, he said quietly. I came because I think you should know she asked me to lie for her. A few weeks ago. My blood froze. You what? I didn't, he said quickly. I told her no. But she tried to pull me in. She said if you asked, I should say she was with me on that weekend she stayed at the work conference. He looked pained. Guilty. I just thought, maybe you'd already figured it out. No, I hadn't. And the fact that she thought she could involve him, use my own brother to keep her house of cards standing. That cut deeper than I expected. Michael was frozen. Jenna was trembling. The room? Silent. And me? I smiled. Because now I wasn't just done forgiving. I was done protecting. I didn't go back home that night. There was nothing there for me anymore, just walls full of silence and memories I couldn't trust. I stayed at Eric's. We barely talked. He poured me a whiskey, sat across from me, and didn't say a word unless I spoke first. I appreciated that more than I told him. Jenna texted, 6 times. Then called. Then emailed. She wanted to explain. She wanted to meet. She wanted to fix things. And just like that, the woman who mocked me for staying blind was suddenly desperate for my vision again. Funny how fast they want to rebuild the bridge once they realize they've burned it to ash. I responded only once. You broke it before I ever got the chance to stop trying. That's the part you'll never own. And the part I'll never forget. Then I blocked her on everything. I hired an attorney the next morning. I made it clean. Civil, cold. I didn't want the house, even though it was mine before she ever moved in. I didn't want the car she drove, or the matching set of kitchen knives she once picked out like they were wedding rings. I just wanted her gone. She didn't fight it. Not publicly. Her pride had already taken enough hits, and I think she knew dragging this out would only dig the grave deeper. Her boss, ex-boss now, resigned quietly the following week. HR sent out a leadership restructuring memo. The kind people only half read, but always side-eye afterward. Her reputation didn't explode. It evaporated. No fireworks. Just silence. A steady retreat into irrelevance. I heard through mutual contacts she moved to another firm in a different city. Someplace coastal. Probably trying to start over. Let her. I didn't want an apology. I wanted absence. Emptiness. Space where her voice used to live. The Monday after the final paperwork went through, I walked back into my old life, not as the man she left behind, but as the one she underestimated. Colleagues welcomed me like I'd been through a war. Maybe I had. But I didn't come back wearing scars. I came back wearing armor. And Eric, well, we're better now. That conversation wasn't easy, but it needed to happen. He could have lied for her. He didn't. That mattered. Sorry I didn't tell you sooner, he said one night over beers. You told me when I needed to hear it, I replied. That's enough. There's one moment I still think about. A week after the confrontation, I went back to the house for the last time. Just to pick up a box of things. Books. Some old family photos she hadn't touched. Things too small for her to fight over, too heavy for me to leave behind. I walked through each room in silence. Let the ghosts come. Then I walked into the kitchen. Same counter. Same tile. Same air. For a second, I could still see them there. Her lips on his hand on her waist. My gift on the floor, ruined before it could be opened. I stood still, breathed in, and said, out loud, just once. Not just a kiss. Then I walked out, closed the door behind me, and left the key on the porch. Not for her. Not for him. But for who I used to be. Because I didn't need to lock that place anymore. I wasn't coming back.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.